as a little girl, my favorite thing to do was to go into my great-grandmother's room in San Jose de las Matas, small town of Dominican Republic. And opening a huge Bible. I was about 6, 7 years old. Couldn't really read, but the Bible had beautiful pictures and drawings, and it allowed me to create stories about what that meant. One morning, I woke up really early, and I could hear my grandmother, Ina, brewing coffee. But I wanted to sleep a little longer. I'm a late sleeper. So I go back to sleep, and a very strong force leaves my body, and I'm not sure what's happening. So I try to pull it back in, but I can't. I try to move my body, but I realize I'm outside of my body. And it's a little strange. And then I come back again into my body, and I'm able to open my eyes and move. And I go on my days, but I tell nobody. I'm 16 years old, face to face with an immigration officer in Dominican Republic. And she's holding in her hands the power to allow me to come to America or not. And she tells me, your father doesn't meet the minimum required income to bring a family of 3 to the United States. But I'm very impressed that you're only 16 and you've been working already for 3 years and you have done all of these courses already. I used to take every little course that would come into my town. Stitching, computer, English, which wasn't actually English, it was just vocabulary. And she said, if you promise me that when you go to America, you're going to continue studying, we might be able to grant that. And that was an easy promise because I love learning and studying. So I made that promise. We arrived to Brooklyn, Williamsburg, not as fancy as it is now, for sure. And my mom's friend invites us to move in with her. We didn't really have a place to live then. And it was a small apartment. My mom's friend had 4 children and her husband. It was my mom and I, and it was only a 2-bedroom apartment. So it was really tight there. One day, my godfather, Enriquez, comes to visit me. And he invites me to move with him in their house in Queens. And I was excited. And my mom said, yes, that's okay. So I moved with him in Queens. And at that time, I was finishing high school, getting into college without knowing any English. I was living in Queens. I was studying in Brooklyn. And I was working in Manhattan. I was so proud to say that I'm traveling 3 boroughs in one day. And not only that, I was taking about 7 trains. I had to do a lot of transfers to get from one place to another. But it felt cool to do that. And many nights, as I was walking home late from work, walking in the streets of Corona, Queens, it was lonely and cold, but I never felt alone. I always had a presence with me that guided me and that made me feel that everything was going to be okay and that I was safe. Later on, my mom is able to get an apartment in the Bronx, and I move in with her. We're finally together. And one night, while I'm sleeping, I feel that I'm taken into a deep, dark, humid, muddy tunnel. And I don't want to go there. It doesn't feel safe. I'm being shown something that I don't want to see. I'm again outside my body. And I try to close my eyes, but I can't. My eyes are actually closed because I'm sleeping. And I realize it's my soul or my spirit that is being taken somewhere. I have a guidance with me that makes me feel protected. It's very loving and powerful. And he wants to show me something, but I don't want to see it. I'm resisting seeing that. I could see some fire and I could hear some voices at the end, but I didn't like to be in that humid, dark space. So I feel a drop of water coming into my forehead, and I'm back in my body again. And I wake up, and I open my eyes, and I move. And it takes me days to recover my energy because that was really a fight. I was really resisting something there. I didn't tell anyone. I'm 33 years old in my apartment in Washington Heights. And I'm having a midlife crisis. Yes. Many things have come into my life prematurely, and that was one of them. I'm sick and tired of the work I'm doing. I'm tired of work altogether because I've been working since I was 13 years old. 20 years nonstop. Went to college, full-time, work full-time. I'm feeling tired. But I was tired because the work that I was doing wasn't really meaningful to me. And I wanted something meaningful. I wanted to be of service. But I had no idea what I wanted to do. I just knew that I was tired of doing what I was doing and that I didn't want to go back to anything that I was doing before. And it was all great work and great opportunities, but I needed something deeper and something more connecting. I knew I wanted to be of service and I wanted to work with communities, but I had no idea where to begin. I get on my knees and I start praying. And this time, I pray really intentionally, and I'm demanding answers. I'm like, God, I've been asking you to talk to me clearly. I cannot hear you, but I need specific answers. Talk to me. Tell me exactly what is it that I'm supposed to do. Something that makes you happy, something that makes you proud. And I write down on a piece of paper that question. I'm like, God, you need to tell me what is it that you want me to do. And I put it next to my window. And that window was facing across the street, St. Elizabeth's Church. And I said, I know you're here with me, and I know you can hear me. But I also know that you're there in that church. And you're going to answer this question for me. So I go to sleep. And at some time in the night, I can see a beautiful angel coming out of the ceiling. Powerful, strong. I'm sleeping, but I can totally see him. And he was so present and so real. He gets inside of me. He takes me across the street to St. Elizabeth's Church. I knew that it was the church because I've been there many times. And just yesterday, I put two and two together because St. Elizabeth is known for feeding people and for feeding the poor. She's also the patron of bakers. After that, I come into my body again and I wake up. At this time, I feel happy. My prayer was answered. I didn't hear anything. I didn't even know that she was known for that. And I didn't put anything together with the actual name of the church. But after that experience, I quit my job. I became a chef. I work in communities, very special communities. And I also work with very special children, special needs, helping them to become independent in some way, and also to create a connection with food. Now, I got some answers, so I thought. But I didn't have answers, and I didn't really tell anybody about those experiences that I've had before. And I've been praying for a long time for a spiritual director, somebody I can trust. And it took me years. And I finally find the person that I think can be. His name is Narciso Hernandez. He's a deacon in Washington Heights. And I asked him, Narciso, can you be my spiritual director? He prays a little bit and he says, yes, I can be your spiritual director. He explains to me what that means and all that. And we agree that we're going to meet one day and we'll talk. So I come to his house. He introduces me to his family. He's been married for about 50 years with his wife, Carla, which he calls his girlfriend. And we go into a quiet space, and I tell Narciso what I'm doing. I'm like, I'm doing this work with communities. I'm a chef, and I really like it. I want to know if that's in line with my values and my calling. And he approves all of that. And then I tell him about all of those experiences when I was very young, 8 years old, being outside my body, and then being taken into this dark tunnel, and then this angel experience. And I'm waiting, actually very excited that I'm going to get the answers that I've been craving. I wanted an explanation for that. What does that mean? And he sits down, lays back, and looks at me and says, that is a mystery. Yes. A part of me wanted to be so disappointed because I wanted to hear more. I'm like, mystery? What else? But I actually felt very, very liberated. And I felt very peaceful. Because that is the answer. That is the answer to all of those questions that we don't really have an answer for. That is the answer of our being and so many other things. This past Sunday, after we finished our weekend intensive training, I couldn't go to my favorite 1 o'clock mass, so I decided to go to the 7 o'clock at Old St. Pat's. And Father Jason is celebrating Mass. And in the middle of consecration, in the middle of Mass, we're kneeling. And he sings the words, "The mystery of faith." And when I hear those words, my heart was filled with joy. As I surrendered to the mystery.